love that. What a good one. Yes, Damon, I agree. I love the openings. The amount of time it takes to go through and make one of those is pretty crazy, and I really appreciate that Mauricio goes through and does that. So let's go ahead and start by introducing our guest. So this is somebody that I've gotten to know pretty well over the past year or two as we've gotten going with this collection, the Micro Galaxy Squadron, and being able to communicate about tons of different stuff that's coming out. Certainly has been a big guy for me in the corner, helping me out with a bunch of information that I didn't know. So he's a big time collector. I'm looking forward to learning more about just himself and his collecting background and what he got into. But he is the admin of the Other Micro Galaxy Squadron page. They are just about at 7,000 members right now, which is absolutely crushing it. Everyone, please welcome Cole Williams.
What's up, guys? What's up, Kevin? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for joining. So I want to I don't know that a whole lot of people know that much about you. I mean, even me myself, other than the fact that you're admitting this awesome group. So
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that. I'm just the faceless page on there.
yeah, well, now we're gonna put a face to the name for sure. So why don't you give me just like a quick rundown of your collecting background? Like, what were the first things that you collected that were Star Wars? I can see you've got a hell
Oh
of a
man.
display there behind you.
Yeah. I think as a kid growing up in the 90s, when I was really little, there was nothing. There was no Star Wars stuff. It was just an absolute black hole of Star Wars merchandise for whatever reason. You had the massive hit in the late 70s, 80s. I was born late 80s. So when I
Mhm.
was really little, there was nothing. And I pretty vividly remember whatever age I was. I guess I was, oh man, probably 6 or something like that. I remember walking around Toys R Us and it wasn't even on the pegs. I found a cart. You know how sometimes you find the carts and
Mhm.
there's
Yeah,
random stuff piled in the cart.
sure.
And it was the very first wave of those Power of the Force figures in the 90s.
No kidding.
And it was like the heavens had opened up. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, "Dad, dad, dad, look at this. It's a Star Wars toy. It's a new one. It looks better than the other ones, although they kinda look like He-Man for some reason." But it
Yeah,
was, then it was a mad race to find whatever I could find around the store. Were there more in the back, finding an associate and asking, "Hey, what's the deal with these?"
yeah.
It was a different time, before the internet when you couldn't find out about that stuff. You just had to right place, right time, and you saw it and you didn't know much about it. But it was amazing. So I got really, really into those Power of the Force figures. Not amazing figures, but
Yeah.
it was all I had. And then I remember, Micro Machines came along, dabbled in Micro Machines. The play sets are obviously um, amazing. And
Yeah.
then Action Fleet came along,
Nice. Yep.
and I also vividly remember Action Fleet and got really pretty heavily into Action Fleet.
Really?
And
Did you know when Action Fleet was going on and you saw them for the first time, did you recognize that there was like, dude, there's a bunch of vehicles that I can get?
well, it's always great because you can see once you get them, they had the big arc on the back,
Yeah,
right, of all the vehicles. I don't know if those were waves or how they were
sure.
doing those at the time. But, it again, at the time, it was just you didn't have that information at your fingers. So, what you found and what was on the back of the box was it.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think I knew quite how many random variants and things, were there. I got kind of into, some of the episode 1 stuff as it came out.
Yeah.
but it kinda tapered off just a little bit there,
Mhm.
I don't know what was going on, what I got into, but I bought less and less, probably video games.
Yeah, right.
Well, happened, video games came along and I bought less and less toys, so I didn't have much of the later stuff for Action Fleet, like Episode 1 and things like that.
Sure.
Wasn't really in my collection, and then I just kinda took a long break, and, I knew the stuff existed, and I knew there were still figures and stuff coming out, but for some reason, something caught my eye with Black Series
Mhm.
a number of years ago, and, with slightly more disposable income than being in high school and college,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
jumped in on Black Series, and then that turned into Vintage Collection, and then that turned into Hot Toys, and, um, then MGS came along.
It's funny how that stuff one thing breeds into the next, isn't it?
Funny and, pretty,
Scary.
financially devastating.
Yeah, I know. Um,
Um,
and when
yeah,
you're
and I remember so funny enough, we'll talk about this later,
yeah,
ToyFair, but I definitely remember hearing the rumble, Jazzware showed up at ToyFair. What would that have been, 2021? Maybe the
yeah,
end of 2021, something like that? They showed up at ToyFair and had a booth, and again, I think it was a behind closed doors thing, so there's only, like, the terrible potato photos from, 20 feet away, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that looks kinda cool," but it looked at the time, it looked kinda, Hot Wheelsy,
yeah.
um, and wasn't super into the idea until something came out, early that next year, and that's when you saw that it was gonna have the little figures and that they were actually scaled better, and
Yep.
all of a sudden, I think like most people, it was like, "Oh, this is Action Fleet." This is the
Yes.
this is a spiritual successor to Action Fleet. Oh, man, and then I went from 5% interest to 105% interest, with those leaks, so, yeah, now
Yeah.
now I'm all in, and unfortunately, right now, I'm all in on far too many lines right now. I need to cut one out, maybe it'll
Yeah,
be
right.
TVC, we'll see.
I know, man, it's a I've always been like a micro type of guy. I've always been interested in that stuff. I was a Power of the Force one as well when they first came out. But I was at that age where like I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, it's Luke Skywalker and it's Chewbacca. Like, who cares that they look like they're jacked? And and I was like into GI Joes as well, so it would always be like the mixing of GI Joes and Star Wars fighting or whatever.
Yep.
And then I did get a couple Action Fleet items early, but I never even remember. I never remember looking at the back of the box like I did with the um, Power of the Force. Because like the Power of the Force, it had like the detail thing on the back where it has like a
Yep.
description and their height and weight and all of that stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. But an Action Fleet, it didn't have that. It just had the pictures on the back. So I'm pretty sure I just took the stuff out and I threw the box away and never even looked at it. So
Yeah,
it's
I was
funny,
a
like
psychopath as a child, so I have my parents have still,
yeah,
refrigerator boxes, like an actual refrigerator box full of all the packaging from
really.
so even as a 6-year-old, I'm like, "Hold on, we can't tear this up. I've gotta get
Oh
hey,
man,
dad, can you get a razor and cut this out so I can," I don't know what was wrong with me that, uh made me do that as a child, and now it's, basically worthless, a lot of it, but I think,
yeah,
they'd love to, trash that box or fork it over on me or something, but
for sure. Well, you could always do the super time consuming thing of cutting all the boxes up. I did that a couple years ago, where my wife was giving me so much crap because I had like literally boxes full of boxes,
yep,
and I was like, man,
I'm
I'm running
staring
out
at
of
some
room.
right
Like,
now.
I got to do something. So Yeah, I went in and I cut them all up and then laminated them and everything, and so now it's a stack like this tall instead of it
Yeah,
being in a bunch of big boxes.
yeah. I had to do that with Micro Galaxy not too long ago. The piles got too big,
Yeah, for sure,
so
man.
it was throwing away the bubble, keeping the card.
Yep.
Um, with Starship class, like, how do I fold this box down and
I
how do I
know.
pull the plastic out of it? I had to
Yeah.
get creative to
And the
conserve
back
space. The piles of the full boxes just got a little overwhelming.
yeah, for sure. The only one that I've kept the insert for is the, evasive action one that has, like, the hollow foil. That thing just looks cool. That's a
It's
really cool looking
amazing, yeah.
box. But yeah, the thing that I love about it, oh, there it is. Nice.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
It
this
is.
is one of my favorite releases. It's so
Yeah,
good.
for
The
sure.
the metal
Yeah, and the little card thing
diagram
that
cards
comes in it
is
too.
incredible.
Yeah, it is really cool. Yeah, and the hollow foil back. That was one where I was like, gosh, like I would get this literally just for the box.
They
So
knocked that out of the park. I think a lot of people at the time didn't realize may still not realize how cool that release was.
yeah. Hey Daniel, what's up, man? It's been a long time. Yeah, the inserts that they have inside the Starship class vehicles too are so freaking cool. It's like I don't want to throw any of them away, so I just have
No.
a stack of them. Now I'm like throwing away some of the boxes, but I have stacks of those inserts.
I
Um,
have a stack here I can pull on you.
yeah, right.
They're
I could
so good. I
almost
mean, and you can actually do stuff with them, you
for
know? I mean,
sure.
it's like you could put them along the back of the shelf, you can kinda stand them up with the sides.
Yep,
Man, the art team, it's amazing what they do. They're so good at what they do.
for sure. Yeah, also the insert on the light armor and the Starfighter class too, where you can flip the thing over. The one thing I noticed that happened, I think, in series two, is for some reason they're upside down. So, like the first series, you could set them down or you could stand them up or whatever, but you could stand them up like with the flat part down that has like the words on it or whatever. So then you
Mhm.
have the backdrop. And then for whatever reason, it was flipped upside down, so you can't really do it. It's almost like a if you did it that way, where you stood it up, it would be like it has a little roof over it. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, they're so good. I was messaging one of them the other day, just letting them know how cool I'm sure we'll get to it, but that new First Order Special Forces tie, that card back with,
Yeah,
um,
Star
the
Killer.
warm corner to the cool space other corner. I think
Yeah,
Grievous's card back is kinda the same way,
hmm
where you just have that amazing, like, warm to cool contrast,
yeah, for sure.
and it's just, like, striking. It's so good. They're just incredible. Yeah, yeah. Very similar,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
then you
they.
get the weird colored warning label in the corner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's so. I literally never noticed that until you just said that. I've
Yeah,
never even seen that warning thing up there.
but I think that's probably an issue.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing on their end that they've designed it so well that you can't see it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, uh, those look incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse, what's
Love
up?
art team.
Yeah, for sure. Great job on that. The whole packaging too. I think that's the one thing I've commented on a lot in my reviews that I've done is like it's just fun to open the box up. You know, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I've never enjoyed opening a box as much as that. I mean, when you're opening like a Black Series figure, although I will say with some of like the GI Joe classified that don't have the plastic front on it, those are kind of cool getting a chance to open it up because you don't ever know what the figure looks like.
Yep.
Like I know what the box looks like, but let's see what this guy actually looks like. But yeah, it's cool getting a chance to open these
It's like
up.
an Apple product. It's an experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just revealing more of the beautiful art as you get deeper into it,
Yep, yep, for sure.
and then scanning it for, "Okay, what ship, do they have on here that we don't know about?" You know?
Yep. I know. That's been probably the most exciting thing here about Series 5. It's one where I think we all are kind of like, man, I really want to know what's coming. Wish there was these big reveals, but then it is really cool getting a chance to see it for the first time and then try to figure out like, oh, what does it look like? That was the first thing I did when I saw the first order TIE fighter. Is I'm trying to look in the background to see
Yep.
what other vehicles are back there that we're going to get.
And it's a lot of sequel trilogy.
It is a lot of sequel
It's a
trilogy
lot.
for sure.
Uh, the blind box art too. I was like flipping through those images, just
Hmm.
zooming, enhance, trying to see what was on
Yeah,
the blind boxes, and very sequel trilogy heavy.
for sure. Now, what got you into the creating the group that you did?
The Facebook group.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
and
that's a good
all
question.
of the social channels that you have now for it, like,
Well,
were
yeah.
you
So,
doing that with anything before Micro Galaxy?
what's that? No, I've been fairly active on the Discord servers. Different collecting Discord servers for a while, but several years. But I think that was part of the 5% to 105%
Yeah,
excitement level.
sure.
Is as soon as I saw that, I'm like, this is amazing. And I went looking for info on it and couldn't find it.
Yeah,
There was nothing, and I kind of waited, and there wasn't a lot out. Um, so I just went and thought, okay, if no one is out here recognizing this, and obviously it was brand new, but I just thought, okay, I'll do it. I guess
yeah, why not,
it's
man?
fine. I'll do it
No one else
myself.
is gonna jump on it.
I just, and it was one of those things. I just happened to kind of look up, hey, does anybody have Micro Galaxy Squadron yet? Did Jazzwares start an account? That was part of it. I went to microgalaxysquadron.com and .net, and at the time there was nothing. I think somebody might own that now, but none of the socials were there. And now I know that for the most part, Jazzwares kind of has their one main account, and um, I think some of the bigger brands, AEW, might kind of have their own thing, and Squishmallows, I'm sure, has their own thing, but they don't have a separate niche account for every brand that they have.
Yeah,
Um, and I just thought, well, if nobody has Micro Galaxy Squadron, I guess I'll just take it.
yeah, jump
And
on.
yeah, at the time, just having the resources of friends who were into collecting and things like that, we were kind of looking into it, doing research, and then we went on Walmart's, um, looking through UPCs at Walmart, and found when they dumped all of their UPC info at Walmart, it was Series 1 and Series 2
Mhm.
initially. So I was kind of able to, um, I don't know, at the time, I guess leak or whatever, I was able to say like, hey, these are ships coming in Series 2. Like we eventually we knew it was coming in Series 1. And I'm like, this is all
Yeah,
in Walmart's back end right now. There's a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing and a Sabine's Masterpiece, I think is what they called it. And so one of my first posts way back when is like, hey, here's this crazy lineup that's probably some Series 2 stuff. Um,
nice.
but yeah, that turned into Twitter and um, eventually Facebook. And, I don't know why this separate Facebook group. I don't know. We could have collaborated, but now there's two big ones.
Yeah. No, it's
And then
not a
I
problem at
opened
all.
Reddit. I started the subreddit and the YouTube page, and I think it was all part of like I know people are interested in this and want to see it. How do I get that information that a lot of people just don't either have the time or know how, or they're just not crazy enough to sit there digging through stuff for ages, trying
Yeah.
to find out.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny for us, we're just, like, huge into Action Fleet, and, I mean, I think when we finally changed the name over even to anything that wasn't Action Fleet was we had, like, 600 members or something like that, and I ended up jumping onto one of these broadcasts just by happenstance, Jorge and Mauricio were
Really?
doing it all in Spanish. And so I was like, this is really cool. I really want to watch this, but I don't understand any of it. And then Dave was on there. And I remember commenting at one point, and I was like, oh, this is cool or whatever. And then
Is
they were
Dave
like,
fluent in Spanish?
no, he was
Oh,
there. He was like the English counterpart.
Yeah. Well, we start everything in Spanish, then they speak in English, and we mix in ideas, mixing in Spanish, then in English. It's really a mess,
Yeah.
but really exciting and really fun. And then Kevin coming with us, and man, we start in English, some part in English, some part in Spanish, and sometimes taking an hour the broadcast.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I
and we would
even
just,
looking at my own demographic info, it's pretty amazing how large the, uh, Hispanic community for Micro Galaxy Squadron is. I mean, it's shocking the size of the community engagement.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
not only for Jazzword, it's well from Micro Machines and Action Fleet.
Really,
It's really huge.
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you are talking. Well, I'm a 50 years old man. Can you imagine? There's a lot of
You
guys.
only look like you're 25, Mauricio.
No, I don't
No
think
way.
so. No, this is because the lights and the helps of shadow. Well,
That's what I've got to do. I just turn the lights off.
that's right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, but it's funny with the Action Fleet stuff because as I was getting into it, I got into Action Fleet, started collecting it, and then I was buying lots of them, and then I was just selling off the ones that I didn't want or need. And I remember getting a lot, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I think this A-wing looks a little different than the other one. And I went over and I looked at it, and I was like, oh no, they're different. And then all of a sudden I started looking at it, and I had like 10
The
or
light
15,
went off. Yeah.
and of the 10 or 15, I only had like 4 duplicates, and I was like, oh my god, there's so much. So then it got me into Jonathan Campbell was the only one with Rebel Scale .com. He's the only one that had something. And then as I started getting involved in this community in this group, um, Helmy, who's now in Tasmania, he had actually a visual checklist of the Action Fleet stuff. It wasn't posted anywhere, but he had pictures of it all. And so he sent it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing so many different things. So I went in and got him. And then all of a sudden, I got into customizing because I was like, now I had the whole collection. And then I wanted to start customizing. And then Micro Galaxy Squadron came, and I was like, thank God. Now I can stop customizing so much stuff, and I'll just be able to buy it.
It's
But
nice
yeah,
to
then
start
there
just
wasn't
to
really.
it's nice to be there at the beginning too, and
Oh yeah.
just naturally build it up instead of starting years after the fact where you just have to find and acquire everything.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, we've spent the past half hour or so just chatting
Yeah,
about
just rambling.
rambling stuff, but hopefully that was somewhat interesting for everybody. Oh yeah, that's right, Jesse. I sent I did an X-wing. I did two different X-wings in like call them like a tribute. I did a Blue Angels X-wing custom, and I did a U.S. Air Force custom, which is like a green. It was really cool, but I ran out of space on the shelf. So Jesse is a huge like arms forces guy, so sent it over to him. So let's talk Micro Galaxy Squadron. We've got a lot of stuff here for Series 5 to chat through. I think the logical order is starting from the smallest things and then moving to the biggest. Um, so let's start first with Scout Class.
What a
Um,
week, Kevin.
yeah,
What
I
a
know.
week.
What a week for sure. The
I
amount of text that you and I kept sending back and forth was crazy. I was like, where are you getting this information from? And then somebody
let
else
me
posted a
tell you,
picture.
my poor family
Yeah,
my poor
right.
family yesterday, I was working on posts from probably about 3 o'clock until midnight, and I couldn't even get one post finished
Yeah.
before the next thing would pop up. It was just I don't remember anything like that so far where it was just one thing after the other. We've gotten bigger drops at one time that are scheduled, but it was so many random things hitting on the same day. It was wild. I was like looking for the phone charger, trying to plug in so I could keep editing photos and
Yeah.
typing out posts and chatting with people.
Yeah, it's
Absolute
funny.
chaos.
My my wife pulled me aside last night and was like, "Hey, like let's have like a little date night." So the kids
Oh,
were kind of out doing some they were like playing. And so we went into her office and we were watching True Detectives. And so you sent me that link about the U-Wing and I was like, "It's a little too much, but if I buy this right now and she's sitting right next to me, she's going to get an alert that I bought it." I
oh
think
no.
I should just wait. Oh man. But so anyways, here on the screen we've got a picture of Scout class from Celebration that was revealed in the beginning of last year, believe it or not. And this shows out all of the items that were going to come. Um, so as is typical in a scenario like this where they reveal things that far in advance, it's very common for things to change. As you can see, we've lost a few different items out of here. Dirge was the one that I was really looking forward to because I
I
built
don't
a
think you're
whole
alone in that.
freaking Clone Wars Lancer display, and the only figure that we don't have yet is Dirge on his speeder. So I was really excited for that. Bummer we're not getting him yet.
Hopefully still coming.
Hopefully, yes,
And
I would
and I
say.
think the moral of the story with all of this yesterday and the past week is, man, there's been a lot of changes
Yeah, for
since,
sure.
what feels like ages ago, like an actual age ago, only only a few months from now, a year ago now, probably 10 months ago.
Yep,
Man, they've done some tweaks, haven't they?
for sure.
And we knew,
Yeah,
I guess towards the end of last year, we knew some were coming. A couple things here and there that they mentioned may no longer be in the Series 5 lineup. I don't think anybody had a clue it would be quite this widespread.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And the other thing is we get into the other stuff, which we'll look at too, is the change in the quantities of the number of items per series.
Which, to be honest, I'm okay with.
Yeah,
This is a
for sure.
lot. That's when they started having, what was it, 7 or 8 v vehicles per wave, per
Yeah,
class
sure.
size, those are massive, massive waves.
Yeah,
So, I think I'm okay with them keeping it the same size. My
for sure.
wallet is definitely okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just hope that we tend to get the distribution for like series 3 and 4 seems to be a little bit more consistent than what we got definitely in series 2. I think series 3 probably the best wave, I would say, beyond
It
in
was a
terms of
flash in
just
the pan, but it hit, and it was all of it, and it was there, and then it sold and, went away, and that's probably the more healthy, uh, that's probably the healthy way to do it.
yeah,
Series 4 has been a strange, trickle
for
of
sure.
product for the last, 5 months or more,
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're seeing that come here too, that it's gonna keep coming out just a
and we
little
still
bit.
haven't seen the other half of the case assortments.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so with this scout class, the things that we're changing, obviously, you see Boba Fett is moving into the rare instead of the chase. The chase, which we do have a picture of here shortly, will show is going to be the what'd you call it? The black hole scout trooper.
Yeah, so, the I think the inspiration for it was something along the lines of Shadow Trooper, Black
Shadow
Hole
trooper.
Agents.
Yeah,
I think those were kind of interchangeable.
gotcha.
And I don't know if they're necessarily doing their own thing on it, but they wanted to make a black, and it's cool. I mean, the Shadow
That's
Troopers are
cool.
cool. Everyone loves them
Yeah,
because they're so cool. So I don't know if they're specifically Shadow Troopers. It'll be interesting to see what the literature. I mean, we probably won't know until they release a Series 5 collector's guide what the
Yeah,
official name is, and by
for
that
sure.
time, they may have picked one or the other, but, if it's accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Is Series 4 collector's guide still up, or did they take that down? Do we
It's
know?
still up, it's still inaccurate too, I
Oh,
literally looked
man.
at it today.
They the team knows that it's incorrect, but it's
Yeah,
kinda wild that the web team has left that up this long.
for sure. So the other 2 that we have here that are replacing Rey and Anakin, which is kind of a bummer, I really like this setup, but we're gonna get another Stap. So, the Stap is a brown Stap instead of, like, the light tan or the tannish color. It's more of a brown, like the speeder bike is, and then you get that reddish, um,
The Geonosian
battle droid.
B1.
Yeah, yep, and then
Yep.
the other one is the
Mando
E-Web.
with his hover E-Web.
Yeah, man, I could do without another E-Web, man. I have literally 15 E-Webs sitting
I
around.
kept several, yeah, I kept several of them I got from those bundles.
Yep,
It's definitely, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're less exciting choices,
for sure.
but
Yeah,
my
Mauricio, can you grab those pictures from the scout class?
so if you just before you go, if you look at that lineup,
Yeah,
it is almost all new tooling, right? Every
yeah,
single character you see in there is all new tooling. Uh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 speeders that are all new tooling.
yep,
So my guess is there was a change to try to spread out some of that brand new tooling
yeah,
per wave, which, obviously the waves aren't quite as exciting because of it, but
yep,
for the longevity and, profitability of the line, I would assume it was a concerted effort to, hey, we don't maybe want to do all new tooling for
right,
this entire wave. Let's spread that out and push Ray and Anakin, roll the ball, down the hall a little bit and
yeah,
get those in the next wave. So I'm kind of getting the feeling with some of the changes that we'll see here in a minute that may be a slight change in philosophy when it comes to these is there might be a little more reuse, um, and a little less brand new tooling per wave.
sure.
But, I don't think that's always a bad thing when you're dealing with vehicles that have 20 different variants per vehicle. So,
For sure. Yeah, and when you can add in different characters to it as well. I mean, you can always mix and match it, which is totally fine. But yeah, I would totally agree with you that the having the ability to reuse a bunch of the molds is pretty common. Um, and so here is the actual picture of the PDQ, and
from
there's
Brett Mason, Age of Grogu,
yeah.
I meant to post this today, but there was just so much going on. He has a full unboxing video he did of these.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I will try to post that either tonight or in the morning, but if you probably just search Age of Grogu on, YouTube, you can see his unboxing video. I think this starts at 18 minutes in, I believe,
Gotcha.
at a
Yeah, I
Target in Southern California, I believe.
Yeah, the 3 that are new, that are just the standard, common vehicles, I wanna have, like, 50 of them. The Geonosian the Geonosian figure looks really awesome.
It's great.
I'm a huge Rebels fan, so having that Rebels speeder is awesome, and the Mandalorian speeder bike reminds me of, isn't it like Wave Runner or something like that? The video game?
That is a thing, yes.
I can't remember I feel like that's what it is.
Wave Race?
Yeah, I don't
Wave
know.
Wave Race 64?
Yeah. Yes.
Something like that. It looks amazing.
It does.
Yeah, that Mandalorian speeder looks so good.
Looks
It's
really
so
cool.
cool.
And with
I
the
could
other
definitely do
one,
with a couple.
so with that speeder, the Rebel speeder as well, that's the same mold that Sabine rides. So my
In
guess
Ahsoka.
is we'll get a
You know
Sabine.
that's coming, yeah, for sure.
Yep, that would be an awesome, easy repaint. And then, oh yeah, that's the Dooku speeder, is what that is for the Geonosian. Yep.
Yep. So we only ended up with 2 new speeders, is that right? Only 2 of those are new molds
Yeah.
for the speeders?
Yep.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new figures. So,
Yep.
it's still not bad.
For sure. Um, and then can we keep rolling on the? Yeah, there we go. We'll see the actual pictures of them. So these are those shadow troopers, and that I love this right here that they've got the Imperial cog right there on the side of that. That is freaking cool.
It just gets better and better. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing that they can get that detail in that small of a of an item. And then I think we'll see Aura Singh here. The I was wondering when I saw her
Wait, how
initially.
does the cog d is the cog updated on the chest there?
Yeah,
Did you notice if it's a little more detailed than the ones they've been putting on the
yeah,
pilot helmets?
I think so. It looks similar to the one that's on the front.
So what we're getting now, right, is like a 5 spike cog or something like that, is that right? Or 6 spike cog, and it's supposed to be 9, I think, is that
Oh,
the deal?
gotcha. That's
I
a
think
good
that's what
question.
I've heard.
I don't know. It's hard to tell in that picture.
And I love that the speeder bikes are a more of a graphite color,
Hmm.
so it leaves room for the darker parts of the trooper to stand out. They're really cool. I mean, it's great. I'm
Sure.
I'm sad to not have Dirge, but
Yeah.
if it's gonna be a re-release, the Shadow or Black Hole Trooper is a pretty cool design.
Yeah. Thank God it's not a hollow trooper. I would have just absolutely lost it. Now, Aura Singh here is the first figure that we get that has different hand positions. I noticed this the other day. Now, her
Mhm.
hands do look kind of massive relative to her body, but her hands are kind of like this instead of where they're typically like that,
Right.
right next to the side. You can see it
Uh,
from that angle.
she's got a little bit of a Wolverine vibe going on
Yes, she does.
with those hands.
Yeah, and her little rod or whatever out of her head is more of like a, I don't even know what to
Yeah,
call that,
yeah.
but
My guess is that would be if you were really, particular about it, that's probably a pretty easy piece to
yeah,
cut away, and
yep,
then you'd be able to put your own rod, like actual metal rod down into her head if it
yeah,
really bothered you.
for
But
sure,
from the front, if you're facing her, it looks great.
yeah,
Just that
yeah.
side view.
And doing 3D printing and stuff with like little teeny parts like that. I mean, when you're 3D printing, it's extremely difficult to get that detail, and the detail that comes out is so delicate. It's like if you breathe on it, it'll break. So, I mean, I totally get that as well, just from a mold perspective. When you're dealing with that type of material, you kind of have to make it bulky. It's the same thing
For
with the
sure.
battle droids, right? The battle droids are the same. They're really like gunked up, which is you kind of have to. You can't have as much negative space on those things or they'll fall apart. So yeah, those are the scout class. So we've got really just one
Do you
sighting.
wanna go over the breakdown of that case? Let's talk about that case assortment for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Um, I feel like we've, going through all the crazy nerdy stats every time a new wave has been released and trying to figure out those case assortments. It was absolutely insane to
Yeah,
see that he pulled 5 commons, 1 extra Mando on the hover E-web,
Mhm.
3 chases, and 3 rares.
Yeah.
So I have no clue what happened there. It could have been a mistake because it's one of the first batch to go out. It could be they're now totally random, which is kinda scary.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, that it's just it's a little chaotic to
Yeah, for sure.
see that
I
case assortment where there's no rhyme or reason to it. I can't imagine they're all gonna be that way because the production numbers would be totally skewed if that were the case. It wouldn't actually be a rare chase. So I'm really, really curious to see the next few cases that people open.
yeah.
What is that gonna look like? Because it's all had a series 1 through 4 have all had almost the exact same, I call them A, B, and C on my graphics. It's been the same all commons, 1 chase, and then there's the 2 rares assortment.
Yeah.
And this is so far and away different from that, I'm interested to see where it goes. It
For
doesn't
sure.
it doesn't seem right to me. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
It could be total chaos.
that certainly would be chaos. I think if that's the case and there isn't like a case assortment like that, nobody's ever going to find these on the shelves ever.
People will either buy the entire case every time they see one,
Yep.
or worse than it already is for a lot of people, they will all be open in the
Yeah.
store.
Yep.
You know. But hey, we always have the Amazon bundles.
I know. Gosh, I really hope those continue because I really only need, Cole, I only need one of those boxes from the store. The
Right.
rest I can just get from Amazon.
I'm still trying to hunt down the Series 4 banner card.
Oh, really?
All of my targets throw away the banners for some reason.
I
It's
might
rare
have
for me
one
to find
actually.
the banner card on them.
Hang on a second. I might actually have one.
I think I've only found 2 Series 4 cases in person, I believe, and both of the cases I found had the banner card thrown away, unfortunately.
They both had them missing.
Yeah, I think, if you've ever had one slip out, they're a little difficult sometimes to get down into the back,
For sure.
and my guess is if somebody has done that a couple times, they don't even bother with it anymore if they're doing it again, or even if it's somebody's first time, they go to put that thing on, it won't go on, and they say, "I'm just gonna throw it back in the cart. I don't care."
Yeah.
And they throw it away.
I have seen one where they took it out. It was like almost in like a vacuum seal bag, and
Mhm.
that piece is on the back, and so they just opened the bag up and just threw it away and didn't even mess with it. So I was like, man, I got to see if I can find one, Cole. I'm pretty sure that I have an extra one of those for Series 4. I'm almost positive I do, but I don't see it here. I might have it in my other closet. Um, oh, there you go. Charles has got an extra one too. So there you go. We'll get you one way or the other. But yes, for sure. I mean, that's like I only need the one box. Um, but
Yep.
let's hope that it doesn't end up that way and that there's um, a little more of
It's
like
a weird phenomenon. I don't know what it is about the Amazon bundles, and those 3 packs. The 3 packs were
yeah,
amazing too. I still don't know what the deal with the River Trading Company is.
yeah,
I think that was the seller for those 3 packs, right?
yep, for sure.
But they were bagged the same way as the Amazon bundles.
Yep,
So, I don't know. That's super weird. The conspiracy theorist in me wants to believe that somehow Amazon just it's like a Amazon subsidiary
yeah,
just, basically scalping the speeders at $10 a piece somehow, but
for
it's
sure.
very strange.
And some of them were retaped too. I mean, I
Yeah,
know.
I do see all of mine had double tape, but
Yeah,
I don't think that was I I don't think they were opened. I think they came double taped
from the factory.
from the factory
Hmm,
because none of them had any signs of one layer being cut and another on top or anything like that. It was just 2 pieces. They may have started trying to put 2 pieces on just to, maybe stop people from trying to open them in the store or something like that. I don't know.
hmm. Yeah, but those bundles are great. Um, anything else on Scout class for Series 5?
No, I mean, it's gonna be wild. Hopefully, people are checking their stores on the West Coast,
For sure. Yeah, I
see
know
what
it's a
they're overall, what are your feelings on, this new lineup?
I like it. I mean, I think obviously the two bummers are the battle droids and the E-Web, just because we've got a few Mandos and 1,000 E-Webs. But yeah, I
Got a
like
lot
it,
of
man.
Mandos. Is there a Mando in every single wave so far?
No,
Series
no, just in
4,
Series 1 and 2.
1, 2, and 5? Is that it?
Yeah,
It feels like a lot. I've
yeah, 1,
I've
2, and
opened
5.
a
But
lot
then
of
you
them.
also get the two different Mandos with the Razor Crest, the Arvala 7, the N1 as well.
Hey, I look at my Black Series and TVC, I think it's not an uncommon phenomenon right now to
No,
look at
isn't
your
for
shelf and
sure.
realize somehow I've bought 42 Mandalorians
Oh, I bet.
in one line, you know?
Yeah, I bet. Um, so, and then here we're looking at the light armor class. So for light armor class, you can see again, this was all released a long time ago. So we've heard back in August in an interview that we did that Geonosian Starfighter was pushed out. In an interview previous to that, we actually got a chance to see one of the actual models, which was really cool. Um, Man, it was way cooler than I had expected it to be. So I really hope that that's not gone and we get a chance to see that.
Yeah, what's your gut tell you about these that are now missing from the lineup? Do you think they're just pushed, or are we thinking that some of these more, lesser known vehicles might be on the chopping block?
Gosh, I really hope they're not on the chopping block. I would say the cloud car for sure has got to be just pushed to another wave. There's no way that they're going to
100%.
get rid of
I
that.
don't think you can get rid of that.
Yeah, the Geonosian Starfighter I think is one where it's probably a bit of a toss up there. I could see it being a chaser or rare, even though they're talking about how they don't want to do any new molds as a chaser or rare. It's all going to be repaints essentially. Um, but I think you got a hard time making 100,000 of those things and then selling. They're just going to sit on the shelf, which is the disappointing part. Um, but what we have as a replacement for those is the one classified item that's on here, that's in the top right, is actually Mace Windu's Jedi Interceptor, which we did find out about a long time ago. It was we found that out in an interview. And then for the only things that we don't know here yet are the chase and the rare, although the rare was supposed to be Mace Windu and the Jedi Interceptor, and the classified one was going to be Vader, his Jedi Interceptor.
Yeah. Is that
So
like was that Anakin and the Jedi Interceptor, or is it actually Vader?
it was going to be Vader.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Vader, and it's the same thing with that the V wing that we get. I guess it's like the Shadow Patrol or whatever, like that V wing that is
Mhm.
in the Starfighter class.
You gotta wonder if they're rethinking the
Yeah,
second B-wing after, seeing what's still on the pegs from Series 3,
I know, but putting
which
it in
around me
that,
is only V-wings.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Putting it in the class though of it being a chase or rare, I think is a good idea for
Increases the
that one
desirability. It would definitely give me pause
for
if,
sure.
if I had one coming out like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Mace as a common makes a lot of sense. I like that. I feel like
yeah,
it's been a little hard to get some of those Jedi in the line, which can be frustrating for people. So it's great that you'll be able to get Mace. And I know they like they've mentioned before just having some diversity in the lineup,
Hmm.
just getting different characters and stuff like that out. So having Mace in there is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is it still Kit Fisto in there? Is it still Vader? Is it a is it a hologram Anakin Skywalker ship?
Yeah, right. Gosh, I mean, it could be any of those. I think it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with the chases as they keep going along here, seeing what they're doing with Starfighter class. That it does make sense to make some of those vehicles as these kind of like really unique looks. Hopefully that deters a little bit of those people out there that are really like scalping these like crazy. Um, just because it's less desirable. Maybe we'll see those secondary market prices drop a lot faster because of it. I would say for sure with the San Diego Comic Con stuff that came out, the storyboard series, I mean, it came out and it was like they were selling it around like 100, a piece. And it it dropped down relatively quickly, but then it just kind of like hung right there. It's not like the hollow tie, which came out at like 100 and then it ballooned up to like $1,000 or some crazy shit.
They've come back up a little bit, I think. I looked a couple days ago, just the seeing before we knew it was gonna be the Shadow Trooper, Black Hole Trooper, whatever it is,
Yeah,
I'd been looking up the Comic-Con speeder bike, and then went just looking for storyboard to see what the deal was,
yeah,
and they're creeping back up there as well as there's not a lot of them out there, especially the hollow speeder.
yeah, which is crazy.
Really not a lot of hollow speeders out there, and my guess is they'll come up, pretty steadily from here. I don't know why that hollow tie would be so much, and these
Yeah,
wouldn't at the same production level.
for sure. Well, I mean, the hollow tie is pretty cool looking. The storyboard series is cool looking also, but it's much more unique than the hologram one. Although I will say, like with the whole hologram idea, like seeing those Black Series figures that came out, the hologram ones that came out, there was like those hit the shelves and they were like, I was like, oh my god, those things are going to be gone fast, and they're just hanging out.
That was my gut reaction is those are probably gonna sit there for a while.
Yeah,
But I guess somebody probably in chat, I did see somebody post that they took one of those bases and they had either the speeder bike or the tie, maybe the TIE fighter, one of them.
yeah,
They had put the hollow micro galaxy on that Hasbro light up puck, and it looked pretty cool.
yeah.
So if those get deep enough discount, I uh, I might buy one just to put the micro galaxy stuff on. Although I don't think I could ever bring myself to open the TIE fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wondered if it was you, Scott. Yeah. I don't even doing that as cool as it looks, I don't think I can open that TIE fighter.
the hologram Tie Fighter.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
man. A few months back, I went through on, like, Action Figure 411 and added most of my collection in,
hmm,
and I think that TIE fighter was the one that is appreciated the most out of anything I have. That includes, like, HasLabs and everything.
yeah.
Um, so
That's
just seeing that is the, like, the most appreciated item I have. I'm not sure I can bring myself to open it.
yeah, for sure. I was fortunate. I got one very early on for like $100, and then I was like, and I opened it, and because I wanted to open it. I mean, it's cool. I haven't seen it open, but then I was like, maybe I want one in the box too. So I got another one for $100. So I was pretty lucky on that one, getting in there early.
The TIE fighter?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, the Hollow Tie Fighter.
yeah, there were a lot out there for $100, $120 right
Yeah,
when they hit.
yeah. So Mauricio, do we have a picture of the light armor class box? I think we have. It's on the back, maybe of the U-wing. We'll probably get to it actually later when we look at the U-wing, but that's got the Mace Windu on there, which is pretty cool. I'm hoping that with the pushback of the cloud car, that they're going to rework some of the figures that they're going to put in there, and they'll put two figures in there for the cloud car. I think it's one of those where I feel like there's been enough griping about it that when they're, and it's the same thing with the first order TIE fighter, which we're going to look at here in a second, that it's like you give
Do
two seats, but you
do
only give
they
one
do
pilot.
they know that there's griping? Would be the question
I mean,
I'm
yeah, I
asking
think
myself.
if you look through a lot of the chats or a lot of like the comments and stuff, for sure. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, I'm just curious
yeah.
if anyone's seeing that right now.
Oh
And
yeah,
I don't feel great about it after seeing the special forces tie. I feel even less confident that they would make a change after seeing the special forces tie revealed with 2, and then we
yes,
see it coming out, and it now has 1, and
yep,
that's the next class size up. So it being the small class size, I don't know why the skiff has 2
yeah,
characters and the cloud car couldn't, especially when it's 1 mold. It's the same thing, you just put 2 of them in there.
for sure.
But
Yeah,
it
exactly.
I mean, really, if you look at it, it's I guess the cloud car is kind of 2 small vehicles put together, so it could be something just with the tooling cost, amount of plastic, whatever's in there. I guess,
Yeah,
the budget for that specific item is just not there
for
to
sure.
fit 2 in.
Yeah, well, the one thing with the skiff as well is there was also some discussion about there being a secondary pack that's going to come with two of them, as well as with some more figures. That's supposed to be a Walmart exclusive.
Buy those troop transports, people.
Yeah, I know. Gosh, please.
If you wanna see those packs, we gotta
Yeah,
get those troop transports off shelves,
for
so
sure.
Walmart orders more of that SKU.
Yep. And I mean, I would be shocked if we see that. I hope that we do, or if somebody else picks that up. That 22, because Walmart essentially had that exclusive 22.99 um, uh, price point. So let's go ahead and take a look at Starfighter for Series 5. I think that's all for Series 5 for the light armor, right? Anything else?
About all I can think of. I don't know. It was the only thing we didn't see anything,
Right,
pop up this week, for.
for sure. So now, if we're going to the Starfighter class, a lot of changes in this one for sure. Ton of changes. So the one vehicle I was really looking forward to was the V19 Torrent. Um, so I did just have to buy a 3D model yesterday, and I've got it all sorted out now. I'm going to try to print it tomorrow. But I think that vehicle is so cool looking. So it's a bummer we're not getting that. But as you
I
can
think a
see, we
lot of
got,
people were excited for that one.
for sure.
I'm left indifferent about it, but I had seen a whole lot of hype for that one. I'm sure it's just pushed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with a lot of these too, like you were mentioning with the scout class of trying to reuse molds to not try to put all of that tooling cost into it, certainly makes a lot of sense, especially when we're looking at this, because you've got, you know, you have beyond the V wing, every single one of these is a new vehicle.
Yeah, this whole wave, 1.5, I would say 1.5 of them are old molds, right? You've got the V-wing,
Yeah.
and then the, uh the first order TIE fighter there, that cockpit might be reused,
Yep.
and they're just the new wings.
Hmm.
Um, but again, yeah, that's a large wave of totally new tooling.
For sure.
Um, and I get it, it I guess if, in the grand scheme of things, if that's the alternative to, the line going away,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess I'd rather see the, some of that new tooling just get
For
pushed a little
sure.
further down the line.
Yep. So hopefully we're getting that. And we did actually see also the V19 torrent in an interview that was done
Mhm.
as well that showed off, which was pretty cool to see how it all
Yeah, it's
functions and
very
everything.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then you got the ATDP there on the far right side, that classified vehicle. And then now we know what the V Wing is. Um, and so we can probably just flip right to that, Mauricio, if we want to grab that one that's showing the back of the box that has the actual class, because it's interesting to see this. I think it's really cool to see some of the stuff that they have going on in the background. The silencer, I think, would be really an awesome vehicle for the Micro Galaxy Squadron stuff, because the one that they released, actually the Disney Store version, was terrible.
Really.
The Yeah, the whole mold in general was pretty cool, but the wings were like a super flimsy plastic. So even when it was just sitting there, the wings would start to like warp, and it just looked really bad. So I was pretty disappointed with that one. But the figure was pretty cool, and the cockpit open and all that stuff. So it was very similar to what you get with like an action fleet or micro
Um,
galaxy.
I'm pretty middle of the road when it comes to the sequel trilogy,
Oh yeah, me too.
but, I really like the TIE Whisper from
Yes,
Rise of
agreed
Skywalker.
for sure.
Um, so that wasn't if they were gonna have a Kylo come out, I'd really been hoping it would be that kinda TIE Interceptor
Yeah,
take that they did in that movie
for sure. Well, you
with
could
the red.
potentially do
That was a really cool design.
for sure. You could kind of do that with that cockpit. So here's the B wing. So this was actually popped up on Walmart, and there on right there you can see the other vehicles in the line. It'll pop up here again, I think, in a second, right, Mauricio? But the B wing looks great, especially with the wings that fold out like that. If you look at the back of the packaging here as well, the B wing actually comes apart. You can break it in half. So
What?
um, it shows it right there in the very middle, right there.
I didn't even see that. I wonder
Yeah, and you
why.
can take the bottom part off, which is pretty cool as well. But you got a rotating cockpit, an opening cockpit. You got the landing gear. You got the wings that fold out. All of the things that you would really want to have out of the B wing.
Why does it do that?
I think it's probably like all of the other ones where it's like, oh, you can take it apart, so it's that way.
Yeah, my mind sees that and I think, "Oh, that's just something else that could break
Yeah, for sure.
needlessly." It looks so good though,
It does
man.
look good.
The package shot obviously is a little weird, but
Yeah,
I would say just looking at that, it's pretty best case scenario.
for
I mean,
sure.
that looks great. I would take a couple variants of that as well if they put them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
I
it
hope
doesn't
they
get much
do.
better than the B-wing. B-wing. Hey, what's going on with this face here? Have you
Yes,
have you looked at this much?
I did. I did.
What are we looking at here? This is like a Mario we need Dave on to tell us
It's
what
right.
Mario character this is.
It does look like a Mario character. My only thought was that this has got to be some type of alien character instead of like a human. Um,
Okay. Is it a Moncal?
it could be. That's what I was thinking. It kind of
Is it
looked
a
like,
Moncal?
or it looked kind of a little bit like Nine Nub with a
I
helmet.
don't know, man. I mean, it's just strange looking at it. I'd be curious. You know, the helmet shape, it didn't even dawn on me that it could be an alien, but
Yeah.
the helmet shape is giving me some Moncal vibes, maybe.
Yeah. Well, in the old B Wing, the Action Fleet B Wing, it came with a Rebel pilot and Admiral Akbar.
Right, and this is this a I assume this is supposed to be a female character?
It kind of looks like that based on the size of the arms.
Pretty, small waist for a
Yeah.
male character, I don't know. It's like, if I had to guess, I would say female Mon Calamari, but who knows?
Nice. Well, it'll be fun to see.
Hey, one of my favorite things about this whole saga the last 2 weeks was when this listing popped up and everybody pulled up the pictures, the, uh the insane, like, measuring that
Yeah.
people started doing to make sure that this ship isn't actually 5 inches, and now that we've seen some more promo shots, my guess is the hand has unfortunately made a comeback, but we've
Yeah.
got the hand showing just the scale of that class, right? These are the 5-inch small ships are 3-inch, right? These are
Yeah.
the 5-inch ships. Um, my guess is that's just showing you that this is a 5-inch ship because it's the 5-inch ship line.
Class. Yeah. So,
So
like, if you look at the package,
it's
I don't know.
actually 7 pilots tall, right?
Yeah, and it's 7 inches, really, from side to side. From the, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that night I asked somebody, I was like, "Hey, can somebody just measure the packaging to see because we can see how it's oriented in the bubble. How
Right.
big is that bubble?" And then I think we landed on, it's gotta be around 6.5 to 7 inches, right?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Which
That
is a
but
pretty
that
good
was so
size.
funny seeing everybody photoshopping 7 pilots on top of each other, and,
Yep.
that was so silly. We're
Yeah.
all such big nerds.
Yeah. I saw that too when somebody posted that, and I was like, "I don't think that's the best way to measure that," but I get it. Like,
I think it's more accurate than 5 inches.
yeah,
It can't be right. That can't be right.
no,
Anybody who is worried about that, I don't think you need to be worried.
yeah, 5 inches is tiny.
It looks great
Um,
though. Hopefully those wings work and stay up and there's no
yeah,
QC issues with that. It's a lot of moving parts, but, I'm more than pleased with how that turned out.
yeah,
And
if we
the
go back to those pictures too, I wonder if it has the Action Fleet version has, like, a little raised edge on it, so when you turn the wing up, it clips in so that it stays in that, upright position,
Mhm.
which is pretty sweet. Um, I don't know if Mauricio went out for a cigarette or not. Oh, there it is. Woo! Okay, yeah. So here is our first order TIE fighter. This thing looks huge. I was surprised to see the size of it.
Yeah,
Um,
to be honest, I have no idea. I'm just now learning that these are even a different size than the standard ones. I don't
yeah,
I don't think I was that honed in on what exactly was going on or the minutia of, some of those sequel trilogy movies.
yeah,
So, I have no idea if this is right or not, but I do know it looks really cool, and I love the red tinted,
yes,
clear plastic that you can see there. That looks great. I
for
don't
sure.
think that's probably canon the way that opens, but again, it looks cool, and that's more important to me.
Yeah, I love the way they changed the cockpit to open like that because that way you can fit the two pilots in there. I did notice too, if you go back to that picture 2 pictures ago, there was some discussion right there. That's a perfect one, where there was a discussion about like, oh, well, the two pilots are facing forward. That looks like the
The
pilot that's
back
sitting
of the
next to
seat.
that guy is looking at
Yeah,
the back.
I agree.
Yeah, which
And
is
I don't
so
know if we have
cool.
a shot of the rear of the ship, but to me, it looks like there's also a window
Yeah,
on the back, right?
there is. You can see it in this one too, in this picture, that window, which is the when Finn and Poe get into this thing in the Force Awakens, they are sitting back to back, and Finn is looking out the back window when he's
Mhm.
shooting, which is pretty cool. But again, I think when you look at this from just the total footprint of the actual vehicle, like the
Right.
whole cockpit and everything, and then like that, wheel piece that's on the right side. I
It's a
mean, this
small
thing,
concession, probably. I would assume it back to back with the side the vehicles being one scale and the figures being a slightly different scale,
yeah,
you know, a small concession they had to make even
Oh, for
fit the two
sure.
figures.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting when you go to Rebel Scale, Jonathan has all of the stuff on there. In terms of the scale, it's all over the place. But you have to do that. I mean, you literally cannot make these things perfectly in scale with one another. It would be almost impossible to do that.
You know, I know people get all up in arms about that, but it's not feasible as a retail item
Yeah.
to do that, because if everything was going to be perfectly in scale, that's different packaging for every single item.
Yeah.
That's a different price for every single item, and for a mass market retail line, you can't do that.
No.
So, I
Absolutely.
think they've found a good, they've found a happy medium of, "Hey, these things are relatively in scale with each other," by making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes and trying to work within those
Yeah,
packaging confines to get stuff in there.
for
And
sure.
it's not perfect, but it's better than any other line, right?
Yeah, I mean, if certainly if you look at Action Fleet, I mean,
Well,
there's tons of inconsistency.
they're all the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but
They're all the
Action
same
Fleet was
size.
actually really built from the perspective of they wanted like a 6-inch type vehicle. But either way, here are the chases. So you've got the oh, I think I got that flipped around the wrong way. So the V Wing is going to be the rare, the one in 15,000, and the hollow X Wing will be the one 5,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I think I ran a poll,
Hmm.
and most people, maybe 60% of people, were either for it or indifferent.
Yeah.
But there was still a good, nearly 40, 30 something percent that didn't like the idea. But
Didn't like the idea of the chases.
no, 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 of having, if you've got to have the rares and chases, do you prefer having something like the hollow vehicle
Yeah,
being, because we see that a lot, right? That's in so many lines
for sure.
where it's like it's just this one color variant that's the chase, it's in all kinds of lines. You see them all the time with those cheap those small DC figures, like
Oh yeah,
Spin
yeah.
Master does. There's always like the gold ones. It's just the same figure but gold plastic.
Yep,
Um, it's not super exciting to me, but
for sure.
I'd rather, I think there's a lot of people that aren't gonna be super excited about just the hollow version.
Yeah.
Um, and, there, it's not like Sabine or something like that where you're gonna feel like you've got to go to eBay to buy this unique vehicle.
Hmm.
Even Biggs, it's like Biggs being a repainted, it's a repaint,
Yep.
but everybody's still gonna want Biggs,
I know.
So I would much rather it be a hollow that if I find it in the store, awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not gonna go to eBay and pay $100 for it like I have, um,
Yeah.
on
I
too many
totally agree with you.
occasions.
Totally agree with you, man. Yeah, I think that whole idea of the chase and rares, using a unique character like that. I mean, you've got Luke, you've got Wedge. You're gonna make Biggs that much more difficult to get. Like I would wish they had pushed
That
Biggs out.
mustache is hard to paint on, man.
Yeah, for sure. So here we've got our Starship class U-wing, and this thing looks awesome. If this packaging, the way it looks in the packaging, is what the actual vehicle looks like with the panel lining and everything, man, they finally got it right. I mean, that
So
looks
we
really
haven't
nice.
seen anything come out in final product and look worse, right? At least in my opinion. This
Yeah.
is obviously probably a later product sample, I would assume, based on this, but
Mhm.
I can't think of anything that's come out
I
and
like how Cassian Andor there. You know what
it
he
looked a
reminds me
lot
of?
worse. The Y-wing being the one that came out and looks totally different,
Yeah.
but in my opinion, it made the ship. Those early promo pictures without the wash on it,
Oh yeah.
it looks fine, but you don't see any of that detail. The
For sure.
heavy wash is what brings out all of that detail going on in there and makes it an interesting ship. This one, I agree, they've nailed the amount of wash and panel lining essentially
Yeah.
on this. And
Yeah.
man, I mean, even look at the thrusters in the back.
Yep. It's got the engine burn on it, which is pretty cool.
Oh man, I mean, it looks incredible. And man, it was so nice to post something like this and have almost unanimous positive feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
And there's a lot to this as well. You get the wings that go back, you get the cockpit. I think it was over on your page too. Somebody posted some pictures of the prototype. Um,
I that happened. I did not share those, I don't believe,
yeah, no,
just
somebody,
because it was a stolen, I've kinda stopped posting stuff that's taken from the factories
yeah, yeah,
that falls off the truck, essentially. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, those sides do open up,
yeah. Which I'm
and
surprised they
it
don't have they didn't show that in the promo pictures that they
super
have
weird,
on
right?
here.
Super
They just,
weird. I don't know why. My hope is that they go back later when they have these final product
yeah,
in hand, and they'll do those, like, blogger style photos that,
yeah,
they did for Series 4 added way later. But man, those are the kind of pictures that can sell a product,
for sure.
I think on a totally different level than some of the just like, you know, we strip the background, it's on a blank white image,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
right,
so sterile, and it's great for getting a eye for it in the detail, but it's not something that makes me go from not wanting something to wanting it. I just am gonna get them all because at this point, I've gotta get them all, I feel like, but,
yep,
I think there's a lot of people that are on the fence about something, and they see those pictures, and it's like, "Oh, man, that's straight out of a shot, from a movie or something like that."
yeah,
It's
dude,
like, "Okay, I'll pick that up. I want that." You know? So I really hope they keep doing that for each series because the difference in those shots versus these just, pretty sterile beauty shots is night and day to me. But
for
when
sure.
they do those, they've gotta show off more of those features there. It's weird they didn't.
Yeah,
Uh
and the other part of it too is
'Cause it's on the
it's
back, right? We do see that it shows that feature on the back of the packaging, correct?
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like we lost it, they just didn't photograph that.
Yeah, no, it
I
does
did
show,
get
it
a lot of
definitely shows
comments
it.
about that on the post.
Yeah.
People asking if the sides opened up. As far as we know, they do, and I think if there's a picture of the full packaging,
Yeah, there's one, I
I
saw it on
believe
here. It shows the little gun that rotates out from the bottom piece. Um, but yeah, it's so funny. I think Cassie in here reminds me of, um, is it like Robert Redford, from, oh man, what's the one where he's the mountain man? The the movie where he's the mountain man?
because he has no mouth.
Yeah, he's just like
It's
full
just
beard,
all beard, no
all
mouth.
beard. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
nothing
I
else
think
to it.
we've got that with, Kenobi too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the next step in, refining these microfig, paint apps is,
Yeah.
at first it was, uh, "Can we get mustaches?"
Mhm.
Can they get it where they can do a mustache or a symbol on a helmet? And they've nailed that now. So now we're at the point where can they put lips on a beard?
Yeah. I feel like they should be able to, especially with what they're doing now.
You would think they are more consistent. I do remember going through some of those Series 2 Obi-Wans and being like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
this is" who knows? I say that. If you see a lot of the Rexes from Series 4, 1 in a million has a straight, you know, line on his mask
Yeah,
there. It's a really weird thing going on with that paint app that didn't quite,
for sure. It's
I don't
pretty
know what happened
amazing
there, but it
too,
seems to be most of them. There's an issue there with that one.
for sure. And it's pretty amazing too that they get the amount of paint on some of them that they do. The A-wing pilot is really awesome. I mean, I think that's probably my favorite figure of all of the figures that we have so far. It just sucks that that can't fit inside the cockpit. That drives me absolutely nuts. I would get so many more A-wings if I knew that the pilot was going to fit in there. But
I haven't tried yet.
oh, you haven't tried yet?
No, I've got I've got several of them sitting beside me right now, but for whatever reason, I haven't opened them yet.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of scared to because it's like Schrodinger's QC there. It's like if it's still in the packaging, it works. It probably fits in there. It's only when I open it and take it out and actually try it if I know it doesn't work.
Yeah, right.
In
Yeah,
my mind, mine are fine.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure they all fit perfect. Um,
But
so
they look great. Those microfigs, I mean, I think they got a lot of praise yesterday too. They look great. Jin
they
looks
do.
good. I mean, we're getting the more colors we get too, right? It's not just the level of detail, but it's how many colors can we fit on, you know, each microfig. I am missing the orange on K2 on that one. He looks great, but I do wish there was the little like pinning of orange that he has on his
Mhm.
right. Isn't that a
Yeah,
thing?
sure.
I think I think
I
he has
I'll
like a little orange line somewhere on him, right?
I'll
They
buy
just
it.
kind of pop because he's just so gray.
Yeah.
Speaking of orange,
Yeah. This looks really good, man. I mean,
orange, you glad we got another Poe?
what's that?
Nope, not saying it again. It was terrible. Terrible joke. Um, we've got a lot of Poes now,
Yeah.
suddenly. We suddenly find ourselves with every version of Poe imaginable.
Yep. I had a feeling this one was coming, that we were gonna get this at some point, but, um, yeah, I do enjoy I didn't even hear what you said, so I'm I
The
guess I'm
chat
glad I
is
missed
right.
that.
It was a very bad dad joke.
Nice. Um, but I do like the orange and white. I mean, this is one where I think again you could get multiple of these and it would look pretty good. I wish I really do like the white Poe. I do wish that that was the standard version, just because I feel like that's a little bit more of like the normal type of X-wing you get. But either way, this one looks really cool.
Can we tell from this image, is this the exact same Poe from the Series 3? The same pilot? I would assume they just reused the same mold.
I would assume so as well. Let me grab it and see.
And to be honest, I don't even know if there is a difference at this point, you know? I've rewatched some of them once or twice, but I don't know if his flight suit from episode 1 to episode 3 is any different. Or episode
It
2,
looks
I
like a
guess. Sorry.
yeah, it looks like a
From
slightly different color.
from 8 to 9.
Like this is a very bright. You can't even see it on this
Okay.
picture. This is a very bright orange, like almost like a neon orange.
So the mold is probably the same.
Yeah,
The, deco might be tweaked a little bit.
yeah, it might be tweaked. It doesn't look like the same. Plus, you get R2D2 with this one instead of
Yeah, I'm
BB-8.
not I don't know where you fell on this, but I'm not I'm not a Rise of Skywalker hater, but I thought they had messed up when I saw R2 and
Yeah,
I
I
was
remember hearing
I
at
was like,
some
"Why
point.
is R2 in here with Poe?" And then somebody in the thread or the chat or something was like, because he was in the ship in the last fight." I'm like, "I couldn't have told you that."
Yeah, I didn't remember that either. But yeah,
Nope,
the
it's true,
what?
apparently.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely didn't pay any attention to that it was R2 in there. But I
I
do
do
remember.
now that I know that, I do vaguely remember BB-8, like, racing across that ship with the horses and stuff.
Oh yeah,
What a weird thing.
for sure. Oh man, we're taking it back really quick to Series 4.
Mauricio's moving us along here.
Yeah, for sure. So Series 4, this is the Landspeeder. I was surprised to see how many.
Before we move on, I will say we did find that did pop up on Amazon. That first order ship, the Special Forces tie popped up on Amazon.
Yes.
There were like 50 something of them,
Yeah,
I believe.
for sure.
Um, at least that's what Amazon says is they sold 50 in the
Right.
last week or so, which is a really weird. I don't know why it went up. I don't know why there was only 50 something of them. I don't know why I ordered one like an idiot. Um, I should have ordered a handful. I saw somebody earlier say there was a limit of 3. I don't know if that was true or not, but
Oh. Well, I
I
was
should have at
driving
least
down the
tried to
road
max
today.
out what I could have gotten, but I did order one of those
Nice.
and 2 of the U-wing from Amazon. Through Amazon US, you could order from Amazon Global UK for $52 shipped and get the U-wing in 4 to 6 weeks. So, we'll see if that arrives at all, or we'll see if it arrives, before they show up on US shelves. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I can always
Well,
cancel.
good luck. Yeah, I saw the first Special Forces tie pop up. I was literally driving down the road today, and I went to hit buy now, and by the time I got to the cart, it was gone. So it must have been like a quick one. But here's the land speeder. So we got a couple different parts with this, which I was surprised to see. And then we also have some pictures of the actual thing. And this is Scott, correct?
Yes, these popped up at, the Hot Toys store in Tokyo, who, last year at some point, I posted a picture that was very similar to the one from last week where they were just fully stocked. It's like rares, chases,
Yeah, yeah,
multiple waves, nothing like we see on the shelves. But I've heard that is like that's their shipment, and it does not look like that most of the time. It's like they get one big restock, they
yeah.
put everything out, and then it doesn't look like that for very long. So
Nice.
last week, I got another picture like that from there, with the land speeder being on the pegs, and
Yeah, I
Scott
saw that.
Jones somehow found somebody in Tokyo to get there and ship him one.
Yeah,
You're
it's
very
nice to have a
lucky. I
friend.
couldn't find anybody that could do that for me.
Yeah, I know it's a real bummer. But yeah, the other great thing about that too, so you get like the ability to open the engine compartment, which I think is pretty interesting. But
With
then
a
you
couple
also
paint
get,
colors in there, which is nice.
for sure, and then you get the engine part that comes off on the side as well as the back. Which seeing it like this too is kind of one of those where it's like I don't know that I realized that the mold looked like that on the back where it kind of swoops back like that. I don't I'll have to I'll grab the Action Fleet one. I don't remember that. But it's got the cool little fins there on the top of the engine,
Mhm.
um, which is great to be able to pack that into a package like this. And for all of those who are upset about the fact that this is a 1 in 5,000, it will be re-released in another package.
Was that on your one of your podcasts
What's that?
where
Yeah.
I believe Max talked about that?
Yep. Yep. For sure. Yeah. There's going to be
I
one that
pulled
has a
so I've
slightly
got
different.
the let me go back and find it. I've got the quote somewhere here,
Yeah.
for people that were really upset about it. I'm gonna try to find it here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one where I would say, yeah, I'm kind of like a neither here nor there about it. In this specific instance, I mean, I obviously am going to get two of these ones to open and one to keep on the wall. But yeah, I mean, like,
So this was his quote apparently. He said, 1,000,000,000% there will be a future land speeder, but with a different paint scheme or redeco on it. So he said 1,000,000,000% there will be a future land speeder.
So 1,000,000,000%. That sounds like something my daughter would say. Like, it's
But
a
that was then.
yes, for sure,
I feel like we're in a different era now, so
yeah,
I want to believe that. I want that to be true.
for sure.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but it does feel like we're kind of in a different era, and, anything is fair game now. So I want to believe we'll see it maybe in a Walmart. That makes the most sense to me, right? It's either gotta be Vault or
Yeah.
it's gotta be Walmart in that, battle pack SKU, and I
Well,
don't
it
know
could
what you're
be
packing it with, but I
yeah.
do hope we see it again. And what's this redeco? What I don't I'm curious what how you, repaint that, you know?
Less damage probably would be my guess. I mean, I know with Action Fleet they have there's 3 of them that they have, and there's a slightly different color on the on 2 of them. Um, grab them really quick. Um,
Mauricio, can you pull up those pictures again real quick of the Landspeeder? Do you know if
Sure, give me a minute.
yeah, do you remember because it looked a little different than I think the earlier pictures we saw of them kinda did. Seeing it in hand, feels different now. Yeah, one just a slightly different shade.
yeah, slightly
The
different
red,
shade. One's got burn marks on it, the other
yeah,
one
one's a little
doesn't.
more saturated. I
Yeah,
would yeah, I'll take it however they can give it to us again, but,
right.
I'm curious, I can't remember it. I initially felt like seeing that early product sample maybe from Celebration, is that where we saw that maybe? Um,
Yeah, probably.
it looked like beige plastic with the, the paint apps on top of that.
Gotcha.
Does that look like kinda what we're still getting?
A little bit.
It's not a paint, it's just the decals and stuff. The detailing is over beige plastic, right?
I think so.
Either way, it looks a lot better than I think it looks a lot better than what I feel like we saw at Celebration. I was worried it was gonna have my only knock on the pod racers is Anakin's pod. See, that looks good. If it's
Yeah,
paint over beige plastic, I'm okay with that,
yeah.
as opposed to the base coat being actual paint. I was worried that it might look kinda like Anakin's pod, where it's not silver paint with the blue markings over the top. It's just kind of silver plastic with the blue markings over the top,
Gotcha.
and to my eye, there's a big difference there,
Sure.
even comparing Action Fleet to the Micro Galaxy pod racers. But I mean, that looks great. That turned out great.
Yeah, it does.
Hopefully, everyone has access to it at some point down the road.
I know, I really hope so. I think that's one of the interesting things too is up to this point, a lot of the chases and rares, I mean, beyond Sabine and Hera, I mean, you got Ahsoka, you got the white tie. Every chase now for all of the series is an X-wing, where you've got Antok and Luke, Jedi Luke, Poe. You'll have Biggs, and then we'll have the Hollow X-wing. Um, it's kind of like, man, how am I going to build my X-wing fleet if I can only get one of these damn things? But yeah, either way, the Luke actually the mold and the paint on the Luke figure too does look better than the other version that you get of him in the whatever it is, the Escape the Death Star battle pack.
Is there any difference to the mold, or are they just painting with slightly thinner paints now?
Let me see him here.
And I don't know if we have it. I think Scott actually posted, comparison photos between the 2.
Oh, really?
between the I guess the between Luke and Ben, but,
Gotcha. The
um,
Ben does look slightly different. The Luke, I don't know if it'll make a
I
difference
I
here.
think they're just using thinner paints now on them. Almost the same molds, he says. Is there a difference in it, Scott? I assume one might I don't know, does he have a lightsaber in both of them?
He does not. Well, yes, he does on this one. Yep.
And then there's a was there a pouch on one of them? They're very similar regardless. I do
Yeah.
think
It's got a
that
pouch on
they're
the side.
using a little thinner paints on these now, as opposed to Series 1 and, a little bit Series 2 where the paints were a little gunkier,
Hmm.
and you kinda lost some of the detail in these tiny, tiny molds.
Yeah. The legs seem thinner. Interesting. Probably so they can fit inside the vehicle.
Yeah, that might be I mean, that's a real thing, I guess.
He
A-wing
skipped leg
pilot.
day. Luke skipped leg day. And then we got one final thing to talk about the deep. Well, I don't even know if we want to call it the deep fake picture of um, the whatever it was, ToyFair.
Kenobi's legs are different too. Okay, interesting.
Nice.
So we've seen a little bit of a lot of these class sizes trickle out, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to assault class.
Yep. And the assault class, there is some awesome stuff coming. So the ones that were revealed way back in I guess it was San Diego Comic Con um, was a couple, which we'll talk about here in a second. But the first thing is that vehicle that you see next to the Millennium Falcon. That is none other than the Ghost. I mean, there is no other vehicle that could be other than the Ghost.
Right.
The one thing that I'm the most curious about is to see, does it come with a Phantom, or do we have to get the Phantom separate?
I feel 99% sure you gotta get the Phantom separate.
Yeah, I'm thinking the
I
same
can
thing based on the size of
there's
the
kind of a
package.
blank plate, on the back of that Ghost
Yeah,
where you can see where a Phantom would lock into that.
gotcha.
So and for the price, I totally get it. I mean, that thing's massive. It looks, I don't know, 30% bigger than the Falcon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what figures come with it as well. Are we getting the Rebels crew? Are we getting the Ahsoka crew? Are we getting, some other mix?
All the above.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Gotta
sure
gotta
they're
make
gonna
that more profitable.
for sure. I mean,
How many
and think,
Falcons have we seen?
yeah, you could do multiple ghosts. So you can obviously do the Ahsoka crew. You can do the Rebels crew. You could also do you could do a Rebels battle pack with the Ghost with both Phantoms, Phantom 1 and 2.
There's a lot they can do with that. I don't know in the grand scheme of Star Wars collectors where buying Rebels stuff kinda, you know, fits into that. I don't know what percentage of, I know it's looked on far more kindly than it did initially. I think Rebels has aged really
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
It was judged a little unfairly coming off the heels of the Clone Wars cancellation.
Yeah.
Um, but, I mean, there's gotta be a decent amount of people. They could also go the route of exclusives. So,
Hmm.
we've seen that too with the Falcon and Starship class.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't mind if, hey, Walmart's got Rebel Season 1, Target has Rebel Season 4,
Yep.
and Amazon has Ahsoka, with all different sets of figures in there.
Dude,
I wouldn't mind that at all. I'll
could be
probably
all.
buy all of them. I mean,
Yep.
I'm a sucker for that. I love Rebels. I like the Ghost. I'm indifferent towards the design of the Ghost, but just with Rebels, it's like that's their that's their home. There's so
For
much
sure.
that happens in that ship that it's a diorama and a ship. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's massive. So I'm hoping they had to scale it up a hair to fit the amount of play areas and play
Yeah,
features
right.
into the I hope we get the bunks. I hope we get some kinda kitchen area. I hope you
Mhm.
can pull the entire floor off, and below it, there's a whole section that's the loading bay.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Um, it would be really cool. I don't know what's there, but
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I hope we get something official, pretty soon. And I do know the ATTE was there at that show.
Yes,
Um,
and we know that that's coming as well. Yep,
we
we heard
know it's
that.
coming. The ATTE, I think, is about as long as like, from front to tail, it's about as long as the AT-AT.
Wow, that's huge.
Obviously much, much shorter.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so
awesome.
I'm really curious what, you've only got so much shelf space, right?
Yeah,
So if they are releasing multiple Ghosts, or multiple versions of the Ghost,
yep,
they've somehow gotta balance, "Hey, when do we get the ATTE out there?
yep,
When is there space on the shelves to fit the Ghost? If the Ghost is out there, we've gotta make room to fit the ATTE." I don't think you're gonna have a lot of shelf space for both of those. Maybe they'll find
yeah.
a way around that,
Well,
but
it does look like the packaging size for the Ghost is probably similar to the AT-AT.
correct, yeah.
So and then I would imagine that the AT-TE could fit in the size of box as same size box as the Falcon. So you're gonna have that destroy the best Death Star battle pack going out soon anyways, and there have been some that have been on clearance I've seen. Um, and so you have that space as well as the Coruscant battle pack that's out, that's
You know,
gone.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was about the same size packaging as this set,
Yeah,
the evasive action set.
sure.
To me, that seems you know,
Mhm.
that's about right with what you're looking at for that being a shorter walker.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing that we know that's coming as well is the T9, Ahsoka's T9
The
um,
shuttle,
that was teased, and then obviously Phantom 1.
Phantom 1.
Yep, those are the big ones.
Yes, and I guess her shuttle is, T6 maybe? T6, T9?
Or T6, yeah, I don't know. It's that the
Um,
Ahsoka shuttle.
yeah, I assume that's Starship class,
Yeah, I would
but
imagine so as well.
it's gonna be another one of those, I guess, where it's hard to it probably should be a little bigger, but, I think to sell at the level that they need it to sell at, they've gotta kinda shrink it down to
Yeah.
Starship size.
Yeah, so Disney, the Galaxy's Edge, it's just cool to see that this actually did pop up on Disney, Shop Disney. That's hopeful for I know that they were in talks for doing another vehicle for Galaxy's Edge in Disney. So let's hope that if they do one, that it'll be on Shop Disney as well. We'll be able to pick it up. So there is a discount code here that you can see, Disney Pal.
Yeah, these popped up almost a year exactly. They hit the West Coast Disneyland a little early, a couple months earlier, and then somewhere around late January, mid-January, of last year, they hit the Orlando part. So it really, I mean, almost a year from when those hit the Orlando parks, they've popped up on Shop Disney, which I think is rebranding back to the Disney Store soon.
Mm,
I saw that this week, kinda weird. Um, and for anybody, I know there's always the doom and gloomers out there. This isn't like, "Hey, we can't sell these Falcons, so it's marked down." This is a site-wide code, Disney Pal to get 25% off.
yeah, nice.
And if you at Micro Galaxy Squadron on Instagram. I've got a post from last week, 10 days or so ago, maybe the first time I posted about that popping up on Shop Disney. I've got a little blurb there at the end of the description there where it tells you kind of a little hack to get free shipping multiple times,
Nice.
joining their email list. So you can check
Nice.
that out and never pay for shipping at Shop Disney.
Love that. So we got the vault here too. This is one thing that there has been some questions about, like, is the vault coming at some point? So I mean, it's still coming, right?
As far as I know, and from what I've heard, I've been told it's obviously still a thing.
Yes,
I don't
for
know if
sure.
this is the timeline they originally imagined, but it's definitely still coming. This
Yeah.
was something the update to this I had meant to post, but it just feels like there's been something every day. Um, there's been so much over the last 2 weeks that it kinda got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and, I still haven't even posted about this yet, but last week, a little over a week, maybe 10 days or so ago, I think people noticed that the Shop Jazzware site had changed a little bit, and now there's tabs at the top there, and I believe you have Jazzwares, something like Jazzwares where they have their brands. You've got I think it's Squishmallow,
Yes,
maybe. They
marshmallows.
have their whole own tab.
Yep.
And then you've got that new Vault tab where you can now it's an easier way to get to that site where you can put your email in, get on the mailing list to find out more info. And really for I think all of last week, Micro Galaxy Squadron was the banner image, the banner brand when you went to Jazzwares tab.
Mm,
So it was
nice.
a lot of stuff there all at once that might have been hard for the line is dead people to see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think obviously with the Series 5 coming out and everything too, that's a big one.
A little bit of
And
a
it's not
silly
going
take at
away.
this point.
Yeah.
And
The
and the fact that, I know we showed that tiny cropped, as I cropped way in on that picture, but the full image of ToyFair that those got cropped from, that's a really big space
Yeah.
dedicated to you couldn't see it in that image, but, there's the one that's the whole Micro Galaxy Squadron section,
Yep.
and that's a lot of expensive space to have at a trade show for something that a company didn't have much faith in.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
that's a lot of expensive space, so I think it's there's been some rough patches here and there with distribution and timing and things like that, but I think it's in a much better place than some people seem to think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also it'll be interesting to see what happens with these next few series rollouts, just because Series 1 really kind of screwed everything up with how Series 2 came out and then how Series 3 came out. And, you know, there was so much stuff on the shelves. There was that backlog. And so, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see here. Hopefully things start to kind of calm down a little bit and we start to see like a little bit more normal rollout as we're going through all of the classes and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been wild.
For sure. Yeah.
It's
Well,
been really crazy. I think, you know, this is the weird wave, right? Because we had it's like a time capsule. We had a snapshot of what they originally wanted to do with it, and now we're seeing something not totally different, but it's significantly different.
yeah,
And Series 6, we'll never know better.
sure.
So this is kind of the weird wave where I think people are mourning some of the things that have gotten pushed, hopefully not canceled, and, um, yeah, we'll see. We won't know, I guess, with 6 what we were missing.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
but I do know a, it's a lot of change and a lot of stuff, I think, that we were said last year. I'm kinda left like, "Okay, how much of this," we were teased a lot of stuff for
Yeah,
quite a while, I mean, that you can go online and find lists and lists of stuff that have been teased. Um, I do know a little bird told me uh, this week that even with all these changes, there will still be something for Phantom Menace fans for the anniversary this year.
Nice.
So
That's
people that
great.
love the Phantom Menace should be pretty happy this year.
That'll be great. Yeah, that'll be cool to see something else coming down the pipeline that's, in that window. I mean, obviously, that's probably not the pod racers because we already got the pod racers.
Yep.
Um,
And we don't know, I don't know what that could be. I'm trying to think of what was teased at certain points.
yeah.
I don't know
Well,
how much he ever came around to confirming or hinting at the what the is a Sith infiltrator? Is that
yeah, I'm
Maul?
looking at the. I'm gonna look at the list here.
That
Let's
would
see.
be my who knows what it is. I have no clue. I think that's a really cool option would be the Sith infiltrator for a larger ship.
Yeah,
I think the easy answer would be a Naboo in one,
yeah,
which is awesome. I'd buy that in a heartbeat. I love that in one mold.
for sure.
It's probably a little big, maybe, but it's so cool. I mean, it's just such a cool ship that hey, I would love a nice glossy. Hopefully, they can get that gloss right on those,
Mm,
and have just a really cool, super glossy in one with Anakin. They've already got an Anakin,
yep.
which helps. I if they just reuse that Anakin, I think that's a little cost cutting they can do there. There's probably something in the way of retooling that existing parts of that existing mold, maybe of Mando's in one that they can use for it. So I think that would be a really good bet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, the
don't
good
know
thing
what
about
else they
Mando's
can
N1
do.
is a lot of the mold itself is really just the things that are cut away. So that
Mhm.
can be pretty easy just to fill that in the actual mold and then
You would think. I'm no expert, but
yeah,
you would assume that's the case. I don't know what else, some of those chrome ships would be really, really cool.
yeah,
Um,
it'd be too
that,
big though.
going back to Action Fleet, there's that speeder from that Naboo, that Theed palette, the Theed
Yep,
set. There's
yep.
that purple speeder. I think there's some cool stuff they could do. I mean, oh man, who knows? There's a lot of Trade Federation stuff they could do, but
Yeah, there's a few actually. Um, they could do the Republic Cruiser might be a good one to do as like almost like an assault class ish type of vehicle, even though it's in it for like 2 seconds.
yeah, Luke mentions the Gungan sub. I mean, you want to talk
Yeah,
about doing something really unique that kind of would stand out. I mean, that's a really cool item that would be, would be really cool, and just something different, on your shelf, not just another normal ship.
yeah. You could do the MTT tank or the MTT like droid carrier or whatever. That could be one
Hmm.
decent one. Although I think I did. I don't think um, the last time they heard about it that it was something that was high on the list just because it's just a big brown box basically.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's what else is in there? There's not a whole lot of other vehicles that are in that. I think the Sith infiltrator for sure is like the biggest vehicle. I mean, who doesn't love anything Darth Maul?
Yep. He's
So
Darth Maul always sells. It's
for sure,
pretty cool looking.
yep.
Um, it'd be a great place to fit that blind box speeder
Hmm.
in
Yep.
there. In my opinion, those are probably
Yeah.
uh, the two worth betting on would be the in Naboo in one and the Sith infiltrator.
For
I'd
sure.
have no inside knowledge or anything. I have no reason to think that the infiltrator is coming, but
Yeah.
um, I
It's
can
just a
hope, I
guess.
guess.
Yeah, I don't have anything actually on the list of stuff that was mentioned um, for that. I mean, I've got um, Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that was hinted at. You got the TIE Defender, the E-Wing. The E-Wing, I think, is one that's probably coming a little bit sooner than anything else.
Yeah.
Certainly with the Vintage Collection one that just came out. And then you got the U-Wing variant. So there will be, almost positive, there's going to be a second U-Wing that's going to be a slightly different deco with different
We
figures.
I guess we didn't get that confirmed, but, I feel like he teased an E-wing fairly in his tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah,
I think he teased it pretty heavily, so I would assume, especially seeing the E-wing pop up in Lego very early on,
yeah,
and then to pop up in TVC, which is wild because they are so stingy with vehicles these
mhm,
days. I would say it's a very, very, very safe bet that it would pop up in
yeah,
Micro Galaxy. And then he did hint at a Dark Empire color variant of it.
yeah, right. Yep,
Did you see that TVC E-wing this week?
I did. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
You don't really you're not into TVC stuff, right?
No,
Yeah. I I
exactly.
I bought one. Even knowing that Micro Galaxy was probably on its way, it looked so good that
Yeah,
I had to get one. We'll see. I have no room for it, but
for sure.
maybe I'll replace Poe's orange X-wing with that since I've got the Micro Galaxy one at some point on the way.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Exactly.
I'll just
So,
I'm slowly replacing vintage collection figures with vintage collection vehicles with the much smaller, more compact. Yeah,
yeah,
man, look at that. That is so nice. That looks amazing.
for sure. It's so funny to see too because it kind of looks like the Ebon Hawk. The front part of it does,
Y- Yeah, it really does. It's a lot of the same
which is not
style like
similar to
lines
the
there.
not at all similar to the Action Fleet version. The Action Fleet definitely doesn't look like that. It's more elongated like an X-wing.
Now we didn't get this on the N1. What's your gut feeling on the canopy sliding open on the Micro Galaxy
I
E-wing?
don't think so.
Nope,
I don't think that they
just a
will.
hinge.
Yeah, just a hinge, especially if they're not going to do it on the N1. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
one that makes the most sense. It's kind of finicky. The one that the Action Fleet version that has that the sliding cockpit. It's really easy for that thing to pop right out if you slide
True.
it and twist it a little bit too much. It doesn't slide forward and backwards very good. On a vehicle of this size, it's probably much easier to build that in there.
Yeah. I tried to use the same rationale with the N1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
It'd
the
be
N1
cool.
looks so cool. It looks so
That looks
cool.
so good. I'm excited for the E-wing. I would love to know if it's coming, when it's coming.
Yeah, for
Any
sure.
I'd love to know any official info at all about anything, but, we
Yeah, right.
it hasn't happened in a while.
No, for sure.
I don't know what they're waiting for. There's no celebration this year.
Yep.
I don't thi Toy Fair, they showed off stuff at London Toy Fair, I think, but that's an industry thing. It's
Yeah.
closed doors. The only thing I don't know, unless it's a random Yahoo.com article, which has
Hmm.
happened, um, maybe Star Wars maybe there'll be some kind of promo when Bad Batch comes back.
Hmm.
And there's a spot where maybe on StarWars.com they can release a PR dump and show some new stuff off. But there's no big event until if they do something around
San Diego Comic Con,
May,
right?
something in May for that. But I mean, it's obvious that Series 5 is coming.
Yeah,
It's gonna be out by then. I mean, it's on shelves, it's on Amazon, it's on shelves. Series 5 is imminent, and we
for
don't
sure.
have official info on it. So I'm curious what the thinking is there with, not showing us this new lineup and pre-orders. Hopefully stuff is coming soon.
Yeah, that does bring up a good point there. The May 4th thing that could be a good possibility for being able to see something pop up.
But
Oh
it
shit!
I mean, but it can't be Series
Hold
5,
on,
right?
hold
Because
on,
it's gonna be on shelves.
hold on a second. Get your phone out. Get your phone out right now.
Are you kidding me right now?
Boom. Order placed. It's up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man, my heart started racing.
Hold
That
on.
is cool, but it's not, "Hold on, there's a big PR dump and that
No,
all the
there's not a big
pre-orders for
PR
Series
dump,
5
man.
are
But
up."
I've been waiting for this damn thing all day.
Are you
Proceed to
getting one?
checkout.
Did you get one?
I got one. I just hit the buy it now really quick. I got boom. Got 3 more.
This is riveting podcasting, watching us buy stuff.
Let's see if
It
there's
does it is lit this was not the way it was before. It is now listed as temporarily out of stock, but you can still place an order.
yeah.
I'm curious what the turnaround time on these orders are. I wonder if they're the same estimate as the ones before.
I'll tell you in 2
You can
seconds.
if anybody's in chat right now, you can probably find a link on the Microfleet collectors page, probably at the top, maybe pinned.
Yeah, either one.
Um, or if you go to the link tree off of my IG account, I think it's at the
Yeah, you
top.
could go to either account wherever you have your Amazon links saved. Wonder if we'll see another one of these pop up. All right, nice. Looks like someone got some.
Yeah, I'm seeing several people grab them in chat here.
That's great, man. Glad I checked. I'm trying to see whether or not I can find the if there's any other ones that have popped up. It's interesting that it's only that one. It says
Yeah,
date
it's
not
gotta be
available yet.
it's a mistake, right? Like, this is not planned, this isn't how they've done any of the other pre-orders.
Sure.
This is just something that slipped through Amazon's cracks and, you know, it's cool, but it's obviously not, part of the plan.
Yeah, right.
Um, Hopefully they don't get canceled. I don't I don't know.
Yes. It's very possible that that this could be a mistake. So, uh, although,
It's in my stories now if you need an easy link to it.
yep,
It's, on my stories on the link tree, and I'm sure Kevin probably pinned a link to it on the Microfleet Facebook group.
yeah,
I don't know what the official name of it is. I think you did a big rollout for the new name, and then
yeah.
at some point I noticed that it had reverted,
It
uh,
did.
sort of back to what it was before. There's been some
Yes. So it's
I don't know,
the
is that
we
some
are
SEO there? You guys are
yeah. So we are the micro fleet collectors. We're the MFers, is what we are for short.
absolutely.
Um, but in order to grab some people, because a lot of people don't know what micro fleet is, we just changed the name to micro. I don't even remember what it is. Micro Galaxy Squadron Fleet Collectors is what the actual group name is. I don't know what kind of acronym we could come up with for that. That would be good.
That's why I have the number of followers I do is because this the complete
Yeah.
lack of creativity in naming.
Well, we were the. I don't even remember what we were before. We were like the. We were
It
we were just Star Wars Action Fleet is what we were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got
I
the.
think when I joined, it was a pretty long, it was about a sentence long, I think,
Oh
when
yeah.
I first
Well,
joined.
this was the original shirt that I got from Mauricio.
Nice.
So,
I wore blue, sorry I don't have the team jersey on for
oh
the
yeah, I
podcast
know.
tonight.
So I went through all of this stuff, and I was gonna have like stuff that people could get, like actual like shirts and stuff, but people wanted to get it. I got all the way through to the very end process of it to where like it created a link for me and then I could never get it to work. So I had a couple people try it out. I think I had you try it out
Yep.
too.
People were placing orders. Yeah, I vaguely remember. I don't remember specifically what was happening
Yeah, you couldn't
wrong
even
with
get
it.
to the place to place the orders, which was
Interesting.
the problem. So I don't know what the deal was, but at some point, I'll get that up so that people can get stuff if they want to. But
Do we think is that link still up, you think?
let me see.
It went down so fast last time.
I was
They still
surprised. I hit. I just hit buy it now really quick, and then I reopened it and I was able to order some more. So let me go back to it. Yeah, it's still active. Oh no, it says temporarily out of stock.
but you can still place an order, correct?
Yes. When I clicked on it initially, the first one that I bought when I hit buy it now, it did not say temporarily out of stock.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that oh, just now you mean?
Just now the first one.
Yeah, yesterday when they popped up, there was nothing like that. It was just a normal looking listing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um,
Cool.
I believe I can check the date on that. It was I think it was a range of late February to yeah, arriving February 25th to March 15th,
Mm,
which is that seems optimistic. That's really soon.
yeah, right. That seems
It'd
very
be
soon.
wild if Amazon had that in their warehouses, Series 5 in their warehouses that soon.
Now that has happened though. I think Scott actually had that happen.
Series 3, that kinda happened with,
Yeah.
and then Series 4 was the absolute opposite, where they gave us an estimate and it got bumped
Right.
several times. They it
Yeah.
started in, like, some of them were in July, and they just started getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and then it was November and December for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, Series 3 popped out, you know, super early, and some of them somehow escaped.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? Amazon does what Amazon's gonna do, and, they're in, communication with Jazzwares, but sometimes I think that a lot of even for especially for online stuff like that, they're just gonna kinda do what they're gonna do, as we've seen with some of the planned pre-orders that, did not
Yeah,
go as planned.
for sure. Well, man, we're 2 hours and 11 minutes into this thing.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
Thank you for everybody that is still hanging with us.
Yeah.
Um, does anybody have any questions before we wrap up here? How many series do you think that we have? I think the line is doing well financially. So the most information that we ever got was that they were planned through Series 7. So obviously, with the what my thought is with the number of vehicles that were projected for Series 5 that are now, getting pushed, the plan was always to roll out 3 series a year. So that got delayed, obviously, because Series 2 was supposed to be back the in like the winter of 2022, and so that didn't happen. And then we were supposed to be through Series 5 by the end of 2023. So that's obviously been pushed back, really like 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes back to even them obviously, it's Celebration. I
Yeah,
don't think they ever imagined that when they showed Series 4 and revealed Series 5, I don't think they ever imagined that it would be a year before that Series 5 was gonna come out, which
yeah,
I think is part of the radio silence that we've had, you know?
sure.
Um, that's a massive gap, and I know, I think they probably have lost a little bit of interest. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of
but we don't
interest.
know. I mean, I see when does Series 5 hit, there's no official info on anything at this point. I
Yeah,
mean,
nothing. And I
As
think they've
as
lost.
soon as we hear something, I will let you know. I hope there's with stuff trickling out like this, it's gotta be soon. They've gotta have pre-orders ready to drop soon. So,
Yeah.
it could be it could be a couple weeks. Hopefully, it's not a couple months because this stuff seems like it's gonna be out there imminently.
Yeah. Well, I think the chase and rare thing and the difficulty in being able to find it has also pushed a lot of people out. Um, a lot, and especially in the scenario where it's difficult to find and the distribution is not very good either. That's like the double whammy of you piss off a bunch of people because they can't get what they want, and then you don't even really get it out. So, yeah, I mean, totally makes sense.
Especially newer collectors who don't or either aren't accustomed to or don't love, the hunt.
Yeah, I like just being able to click and buy it. So, is there anywhere Jazzwares listening to us regards the distribution across the U.S.? To be perfectly honest, I would be shocked. I would honestly be shocked to find that there are areas that are not getting these. What I think, in all honesty, is happening is that there are a lot of people. There's scalpers and there's a lot of people that are collectors that are going first thing in the morning when
Hot
these things
Wheels
come out
guys.
and they buy all of it.
Yeah.
So, because the Series 4 blinds that were coming out in Targets all over the place, I haven't seen a single one. Actually, no, I take that back. I did find one case that had like 4 or 5 of them left in it, but they must have all hit around the same time. So that's where staying up on our pages and keeping an eye on that when they start to hit is super important to make sure that you're getting there. But the challenge is a lot of people have jobs they can't go at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning to try to find these things. It's going to be after work or whatever, and so yeah, it really sucks. There needs to be another way to be able to get
Yeah,
them.
it's kinda like we were saying earlier, Series 3 seemed to be the healthiest release. It was kinda
Yeah,
all at once at most stores relatively around the same time. Amazon obviously shipped stuff earlier, but it hit Target and Walmart about the same time. They got a decent selection of them, and then Series 4 kinda took over. I think, Series 2, all the other ones have had different issues where Series 1 was way, way, way overproduced and probably overordered by retailers coming off of COVID. You've got all of that on the shelves, so retailers didn't bring in their fulfillments for, Series 2 because there's no shelf space from Series 1.
yeah,
So Series 2 kinda got cut short, and then Series 4, you have this weird trickle phenomenon, so people saying they aren't seeing anything or my area is not getting anything. I really think a lot of those cases is because a store is getting 1 case, and if it's gone in 48 hours, if you're not going to that store every day, it feels like nothing's been there because they got 1 case and it was gone within a day or 2,
yeah,
and it feels like nothing, and they keep they'll get 1 case, 6 weeks later, they get another 1 case. There hasn't just been one big rollout where, "Oh, hey, we got 4 cases of these. They're all sitting here. We can replenish the pegs when they sell."
yeah,
That's not happening with Series 4, and with Series 5 potentially hitting relatively soon, I don't know what they're gonna do about getting the other half of those case assortments for Series 4 out on the shelves. I hope those are coming really, really soon, or we're gonna have a weird thing where the chases for these are almost impossible to get because Series 5 started getting fulfilled
yeah,
before that back half of the case assortments with all of the light armor chases rares and bigs. I hope Vault still has their, collector's sets where we can get the chases from those, but,
yeah,
until we see official info on that, that's hopefully it happens.
for sure. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I thought I saw another question in there.
David, I don't know how long you've been on, but Vault they did. I know some of the it's coming. I've been told it's still coming, and they're still working on it. If you were here earlier, we showed that screenshot where they've added a vault tab to the Shop Jazzwares website where you can find out more. So things are rolling. It just feels very slow, but they did say Q1 2024 back at Comic-Con,
Yeah.
even though some of those exclusive releases, I think might have said late 23 on them, but
Yeah, I know originally it was talked about as November, then it was pushed out, and then I saw something about I thought I saw something about Squishmallows for like early March,
mhm.
which
Well, they had
is
that really cryptic post, that I think was it about Squishmallows, but they said Squad in it, and, I think some people were like, "What?"
yeah.
But I do think that was a Squishmallows tease, right? That March thing that they posted.
Yeah. Yeah, it was for sure.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether or not that can't be pigging back off of some of that of, it'll be an exclusive on Vault.
Yeah.
But we'll
Did
see. I mean,
you
hopefully.
did that set from Amazon UK, did that come out before your last show? Did you get to talk about that?
This sad.
The ATST set that leaked on
Oh,
Amazon UK.
yeah, no. I have not had a chance. I don't think we talked about that Serdar found.
Yeah, so for anybody who didn't see that posted, Amazon UK had a random listing go up with no images or anything like that. It was very very much a placeholder listing, but it was um, it says Jazzwares Vault exclusive that had it was like an indoor set, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yep.
had ATST with indoor deco, whatever that is. It's muddy. There's a
Yep.
muddy ATST
Yep.
and a few speeder bikes, right? And it seems like they might be repackaging some of those blind boxes, um, with like Luke, Leia, probably a scout trooper. There was some info in there. You can probably go back. I've got a post on it, May almost 2 weeks ago, I guess, probably somewhere around
Yeah.
there. It's not the most exciting thing, but anything like that's cool to see, I guess.
For
My
sure.
hope is that when we do see another ATST, that base plastic has been tweaked a little bit, and it's more of a cool steel gray than
Yeah.
whatever that kind of brown we got last time. It
Yeah.
was a little off, right?
The wash is
I don't even
that
think
is
it was
one
just the
great thing
wash.
that
The
they
wash is
changed.
very red. It's a very warm wash that's on there,
Yeah.
which doesn't help at all. But that base plastic was really, I mean, it was really warm, right? It wasn't a
Yeah, it was like a
steel color.
brownish gray, like a brownish gray color.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm hoping I will it's not super exciting to me, but I will absolutely buy it if it's a better
Better color.
looking ATST with a better base color on it, and maybe a little flatter because I feel like the first one was maybe a little glossy
Yeah, for
before the
sure.
wash.
Yeah, it'd be great to have like an actual gray one. Jonathan did a great custom of it, and it looks so much better. The mold itself is not terrible,
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
it's great.
Awesome. Well, man, we are 2 hours and 20 minutes in. I think it's a good time to sign off. What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, we've put these poor people through enough torture.
Yeah, we had Serdar on here for a little while. I know it's 3 o'clock where he's at in Sweden, so um, thank
Oh,
goodness that he was
man.
on for a little while. I'm sure he's asleep by now, I hope so.
I hope. Catch the
Um,
replay.
yeah, for sure. Well, Cole, I really appreciate you spending the time with us. It's been too long that we've known each other and not had a chance to do this, so it's
Right,
great to
yeah.
have you on to be able to talk through all of the releases. Thanks for all that you do for our community and for running a great group over there and keeping everybody in line. Um, it's not always easy when you're an admin. You don't realize all of the stuff that goes on in the background. So Um,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Facebook is definitely its own kind of thing. There's definitely days where it might be
yeah,
easier just to run Instagram.
yeah, for sure. Yep, I'm with you there.
That's great. It's such a good community. A lot of different people and um, just the demographics are crazy.
Yeah,
It's a
sure.
global brand, which is it's really cool. I hope they find ways going back to that listing, that popped up on Amazon UK. I hope they're still trying to find ways to get this stuff out to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Well, thanks for everybody that joined. Thanks, Mauricio, for helming us here in the background. I don't know how many cigarettes you got through, but maybe one or two.
Only
So,
one.
and thanks for everybody for tuning in. I don't know when we'll be back. Probably another couple weeks, and then we'll keep talking about micro galaxy stuff. So, thanks again, Cole, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.